So this is one of Ubiquiti's newest cameras. It's the G3 Instant. It's a $29 1080p Wi-Fi security camera with a 130-degree field of view. Now this camera is indoor only and it gets its power over USB-C. It cannot send data over Ethernet even though there is an 802.3AF PoE to USB adapter available. That's only for powering the camera. But I want to take an in-depth look at this camera and see what it can do in comparison to the G3 Flex. Can open this thing up, take off the plastic. Ubiquiti has always done a fantastic job with the packaging of their products. This is in one of their classic white boxes and not any of the new gray stuff. Which, you know, these are pretty boxes I like to keep around, but we can see we have the camera here. It's absolutely tiny. This is an NPF battery for size. It's about the same size, like in almost every way. It's a hair taller. And this is a 9-volt battery. This thing is absolutely tiny. So we have this, it's got a USB-C port on the bottom, and then a cable channel, and what I believe is the mounting screw hole. Taking a look at what else we get in the box. We get a like instruction manual thing here. Some mounting pads, some adhesives, mounting bottom bracket, the back mount, so that way you can mount this to a wall. And our USB-C charger, although it's nice, this one is a wall brick and also has a detachable USB-C cable. So the cable's not attached to we also get our screws, but so the cable is not attached to the wall brick itself. So if you need to extend this with a USB extender or something like that, you can. They also sell an adapter that is 802.3AF PoE to USB-C for powering this over PoE. Keep in mind though, that adapter is only for powering the camera. No matter how you power the camera, it will still always transmit its data over Wi-Fi. There's no way to get a wired data connection to this camera. Okay, so getting into the initial setup of the G3 Instant camera, you have to do that through the app on your phone, through the UniFi Protect app. That's how it's able to find the device over Bluetooth and then connect it to your network. I don't know if you can hear the camera back there, but it's chiming away. Its chime is incredibly annoying and I absolutely hate it, and Ubiquiti needs to find a better chime because that sucks. But anyway, if we jump into UniFi Protect here and we connect to our UDM Pro, we can see it says new device found and it's the G3 Instant. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and hit add. It's gonna connect to it. Now it's finding Wi-Fi networks for me to connect the camera to. Now I'm gonna use the MTech network here. And my password is lovely password. This is just my testing network, so it doesn't have to be secure. It just has to be easy. Oh, and it's chiming even higher pitched now. I seriously hate the chimes on this camera. And we can go ahead and give the camera a name. I'm just gonna go ahead and remove the UVC because I don't need to see UVC in my cameras. They're all UVC cameras, so. So now that we have the camera added into UniFi Protect, we can go ahead and take a look at the live feed. And I can rotate my phone here. And we see that it's actually a fairly clean image. It's not a bad picture, especially for $29. Now you can also see here that I have a G3 Flex camera. Now the G3 Flex was Ubiquiti's lowest priced camera before this came out. It retails for $79 MSRP, with the G3 Instant retailing for $29. So for $50 more, is the G3 Flex something that you should upgrade to? Or is it worth saving your money with the $29 G3 Instant? Okay, so I wanted to come in here to the computer and take a look at how all of the cameras look inside of UniFi Protect here. So we have the G3 Flex up in the top left and we have the G3 Instant in the top right. Now, you can see that there is a delay between the different cameras because one of them is wired, the other one is wireless. So if I clap, actually that was pretty good. But yeah, so you can see definitely that the G3 Instant has a much wider field of view, but as you get close to the edges, you see a lot of that fisheye look that, you know, GoPros used to really suffer from, versus the G3 Flex's warping being much less pronounced. So I'm gonna go ahead and stand on the side of these images here, just so you can see how those compare. And if I look at the camera, you can see my face gets a lot more squished on the G3 Instant, which, seeing as the G3 Instant is an indoor camera, you're probably gonna have cameras outside that can pick up exactly who is, you know, outside your house and coming in. And then the G3 Instant is just really good for being able to just see kind of what people are doing, what's happening. I plan on putting the G3 Instant out in my windowsill so that way I can, you know, record, you know, Amazon packages and stuff being delivered. So that way I can easily see from my phone whether there's something on the front porch or not. Because I have a window that really easily faces the front porch. So that'll be nice and easy to do. Now you can also see that the colors are very different, where the G3 Instant tends to hew more towards the magenta side of things versus the G3 Flex taking on more of a green tone. Now this is fairly normal when working with different camera sensors. I know my Canon cameras shift more towards magenta. This is what I look like without any of my color correction on. See, it's not a great image, so let's put that color grading back on. And I know Sony cameras, they hew more towards the green side of things. So, you know, it's just the difference in the cameras. Both of these images are still very usable, and I wouldn't have a problem deploying either of these cameras. But let's take a look at the settings for the G3 Instant and see how its settings compare to the G3 Flex, because there are some differences. So if I take a look at the G3 Flex's settings here, we can see that it's, you know, connected over wire, 6 meg a second for my data transmit rate, and it's only recording at 25 frames per second. So I can come over here to the overlay information, and this is pretty much what I leave on for while I'm recording cameras for these videos, is I just turn on the camera name, but when I'm actually using them, I turn on the name and the time. So I'm gonna just turn on the name and leave the time off for now. But recording, I always set my cameras to record always, and then just to store information essentially for motion events, because then I can just delete everything that's not a motion event. And I can change the motion algorithm. So I have it on enhanced versus stable, and it's kind of interesting. You can see that the G3 Instant last saw motion 3 minutes ago versus the G3 Flex saw motion 2 minutes ago. And that was when I went and stood up, you know, by my door. So it's interesting how they report their times differently, and how sometimes the G3 Instant takes a lot longer before it recognizes that that was a motion event. Now let's go ahead and mirror the settings over to the G3 Instant. So I'm gonna come down here to recording quality, make sure, yep, that's cranked to 30 FPS. Image quality, we're gonna change that up to 100%. And for overlay information, I want to turn off the logo, turn on the camera name, apply those changes, and I've just, you know, named it G3 Instant here. And under recording, if you go to motion events, we can't change any of the motion algorithm settings. So what you get in the box is what you're left with. You can't change that to the new enhanced algorithm or the stable one. I'm not sure which one it's using out of the box. So we can also manage our zones, so we can add privacy zones, and that'll bring up the image here. And let's just say, hey, I don't want anything that happens in bed to be recorded. I can bring that over here and just say, hey, let's not record that. But I don't care, so I'm gonna delete it. But now let's take a look at the image comparison between the two cameras, both during the day and at night. Taking a look at the cameras during the day, we can definitely see the fisheye look on the G3 Instant. The G3 Flex looks sharper and more saturated, but overall I wouldn't say it's twice as good as the G3 Instant. We can also see the increased field of view of the G3 Instant with its 130-degree field of view lens. But looking at both cameras at night, we can see that the G3 Flex looks more overexposed. And it looks like it's focus hunting, but with brightness instead, which is kind of weird. The G3 Instant looks better to my eyes, and I'm incredibly impressed with the performance of this little $29 camera. So between the two, what would I recommend? For outdoor use, you're gonna have to go with the G3 Flex, because the G3 Instant is not weather sealed. It has no outdoor rating for it. This is an indoor only camera. But for indoor use, I don't think that the G3 Flex provides twice the performance that the G3 Instant does. It would need to provide over twice the performance if I was gonna justify spending twice the price on it. And I can't. I really like this little G3 Instant. The only time I can really see myself using a G3 Flex inside over the G3 Instant would be in my garage where I have weaker Wi-Fi coverage, so I might need to have a wire run out there for this camera. But other than that, I'm incredibly impressed with this little G3 Instant camera for $29. I will leave a link to everything I talked about in the description below, but let me know in the comments, what are you guys running? Have you tried the G3 Instant, or are you still on that little mailing list waiting for a notification that it's back in stock? I swear those notification buttons that you can click on the Ubiquiti store do nothing, because I have never gotten a stock alert. But anyway guys, let me know what you think. Hit that like button if you liked it. If you didn't, the other button's there too. But thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.